a quick introduction about myself because there are new people, quite a few new people. So I just introduce about myself. This is Praveen Kumar Sriram. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I have around 20 years of experience into various Microsoft technologies, and I have authored a couple of books and few certifications, then various projects in which I have worked, and I also do a lot of community contributions. I have my personal blog where I write articles, then I also do a lot of YouTube content, and I also talk about Azure technologies in these kind of meetups and other places as well. And because of the community contributions, I have been awarded as MVP from C# Corner even this year as well, and been awarded as excellent award winner from Urban Pro multiple times, even including current year as well. That's a quick intro. Yeah. As you guys know, today's topic is about Azure DevOps Git. Okay. So we'll be talking about Azure DevOps Git best practices, and of course we'll be starting from the very basics of what is Git. So how Azure DevOps integrates Git, and what is Azure DevOps project architecture. As you can see my mouse, right? Okay, now it should be better.
Yes.
And yeah, and what is a Git hierarchy? And in real world, what are various different teams? Basically, you might have development teams, database teams, ETL teams, DevOps engineers, right? So we will take simple examples and what each different team might use different Git repo structures. I'll give some examples, okay? And the interesting ones, are colored in blue. Basically, I'll be explaining some real-world branching strategy and life cycle when a Git branch would be created and when it will get deleted. So life cycle of the Git branches, and we'll also do some hands-on labs, starting with project creation, repo creation. We'll see some Git basic commands as well. And again, these are two interesting things which are very commonly used in real world. There is a concept called policies. This is also very important. Even in interviews, people would ask about this. And we'll also use a concept called Git flow, which is very, very popular. Every project that uses Git will have this concept called pull request. And finally, we'll wrap it up with any questions and answers. Okay. So feel free. Question and answers need not be at the end. Anytime if you have any questions, don't hesitate to stop me. Don't raise your hands because I might not see if you raise your hands because I'll be presenting. If at all I see that, I will stop myself and ask you questions, but feel free to unmute and you can ask me questions even in the middle. No problem. Okay. All right. So first we'll go through some points in the slides itself and then we'll do some hands-ons. Okay. So now what is Git? I'm sure at least some of you might have already worked with Git. What is Git? Anybody?
Yeah, Praveen. It's a source control.
Very good. Yeah. So source
By
code.
using the Git, we can clone the code to our local or any server for the workaround.
Okay. Good. So basically source control. Yeah, that's a common term. Now what is source? You know control, right? You can control the source, but what is source? Source actually is source code. So you can control the source code with the features that the source control provides. This is also called as version control. So now version is another word. So basically, if you want to track and manage all the code changes, source code changes that many people do. In every team, there will be many developers, right? Anybody who write code is a developer or an engineer, software engineer, DevOps engineer, developer, right? So engineer means anybody who writes code. I'm sure everybody knows that, right? So now every project, we all know IT projects run for many years, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, right? All these years, many people come and go, and everybody makes their hands dirty. Everybody writes code for years and they leave the company or project, and new people come and then they make changes and they leave. It's not just one file, it may be thousands of files. So how do we track all these changes? Let's say after an year or two, how do we know who made that particular change? There is a bug, client has reported that, and you want to know who has done that, why did they do it, is it expected or it's not expected, right? Who asked it, is it a client requirement or did we do it ourselves or it's a mistake? So if you want to track back those kind of things, you have to use some kind of version control or source control. There are a handful tools which helps us in getting this done. The very popular one these days, last few years, maybe 7-8 years, since 7-8 years, Git is very, very popular. Everybody uses Git. Okay. So Git helps us, in fact, source control or Git helps us in tracking and managing the changes or history of all changes, not just by one or two people, but everybody in the team. Okay, source control management system, SCM systems, everything, all these are different terms, but they refer to one simple thing called Git in our case. So it provides running history of code developments or code changes. So it also helps in resolving conflicts. Okay, we'll talk about this. I have separate slides for this. For example, when two people are working on a same file, that file might be common to all people. They may make change in the same line of code, and then they will have to combine them together. While combining, there might be problems. So how do you resolve them? So Git has inbuilt facility to resolve them. If it cannot resolve them, it will ask our help. Hey, I am not able to resolve the conflict. You please sit together and tell me what should I take. So those conflict resolution is also part of that. And source control systems also protects our code from catastrophes. That means if everybody of us maintain our code in our machines, then what if there is a hard disk crash on our machine, right? That's a problem. So the source control systems are installed on a specific server which are durable, which are resilient to problems, right? So even if the code that we have in our machine, even if the machine gets crashed, still we have code sitting on a server. We can get that anytime. So that's another advantage of using source control management systems. So obviously the benefits are reusability, blah, blah, blah. All these are benefits. Main thing is collaboration. Multiple people work on same files, different files. Later they can combine everything into one. And while combining, there might be problems, and it has inbuilt tools to resolve them. First point is collaboration, then history or traceability. These two are very, very great advantages of using with source control. Okay, let's move on. So now in DevOps, Azure DevOps, how do we create Git repos? So before even we create Git repos, we need to first do these steps. First one is every company, right? Every organization will have to create one Azure DevOps organization. Within that, you can have multiple projects. Project 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we are going to create a project because I already have created organization. I created many projects, but I'm going to create a new project now very soon. And each project can have multiple repositories, right? One of the questions that common is how many repositories should we create in a given project? Is it one or many? Some people, old projects, they have monolithic repo architecture. That means only one repo. But now it's all segregated. Every team, every technology will have its own repo. For example, .NET developers, of course, everybody's same project, but .NET developers, they will have one or more repos. For example, .NET developers, if they create APIs, web applications, then each of them will have either one repo or multiple repos. It's up to them. Same SQL guys. they will create a repo for SQL objects, and DevOps, they will create all DevOps pipelines in their repo, and infra team, whether they use Terraform or Bicep or ARM templates, they will have separate repo. Okay, so it's a good practice to segregate everything because you can control access. For example, infra team can only access infra repo. Why would a .NET guy should see infra code? There is no point, right? So we can have separate access control if we have separate repos. If everything is in one repo, obviously controlling the access will be tough. So it's recommended to create separate repos for each of the technologies or components or workloads. Workloads is the right term here. For each workload, a separate repo. For example, workload means a database, a web application, APIs. These are all called as various workloads. We are going to create a project and repos as well, maybe one or two repos. And this is the hierarchy. First, you will create a project in Azure DevOps organization. Then one or more repositories. Repositories are called as repos. And each repo, this is simple. Okay, from here the complexity increases. Okay, so each repo would contain branches. These are types of branches. So core branches, that means the main branches, feature branches, hotfix branches, release branches, personal branches. There could be many different types of branches. These are kind of types, but all branches are just branches. It's up to us on what category you want to name it. So now what are these categories? They're nothing but folders. If you create a branch in a folder called feature, it becomes a feature branch. Okay, I'll explain why do we need, if everything is same, if every branch is same, why are we categorizing them differently? I'll explain that in a moment. But otherwise, these are just technically they are just folders. Each folder will contain many branches. Okay, but core is little different. There is no term called core that people use in the industry, but I just added this as core. So now core means long-lived branches. They will never be deleted. But feature branches and hotfix branches and every other type of branch, they are short-lived branches. That means their lifetime is just 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, 1 month, that's it. They should get deleted, okay, for sure, to maintain hygiene factor in your project. Okay, so only core features, generally they're main branch, develop branch. These are the core branches that I am referring to. They should never be deleted. Okay, I will explain when feature branches created, how they are created, when main branch and develop branch are created, how hotfix branches are created, when they will get deleted. I'll explain all those in the upcoming slides. So let's summarize it. First, you will have a project. Inside one project, you will have many repositories, not many, maybe 5, 10, 15. And each repository contains many branches, maybe 20, 50, 100, 200, 1000, 2000, we don't even know. Okay, and of course the lifetime of many branches is short, except 1 or 2 branches. Everything else should get deleted after that code is promoted to the core branches. I'll explain what is promotion, all that I'll explain in a minute. Okay, all right, let's move on. Let's now understand the teams. The title is different here. Generally we know, right, project development teams should be there and infra teams should be there. Here I am taking only 2 examples. Again, within development team there could be many teams: .NET development team, Java team, database team, blah blah blah. To make it simple, I've taken only 2 teams. Okay, in general the Git architecture or repo or branch architecture will be complex for development teams, but infra teams, they will have simple, because the infra teams in general will be small. Team size will be small, the amount of work is also limited when compared to regular development teams. In general, developers are the ones who write a lot of code, right? Infra team will not be too much, it's limited. Okay, hardly 10% or 5% of what development team writes, right? So let's understand the repo architecture or branch architecture of development teams. You see, it is complex, so many different types, right? As I said, core. So main branch and develop branch, these two are long-lived branches. Nobody can delete them. Of course, administrators can delete it, but in general, normal developers cannot delete them. Okay. So next thing is feature branches. As you can see, feature slash login. Basically, feature is nothing but a folder. So now, when do we create a feature branch? So for example, a developer wants to develop a feature in their project. For example, login is a feature that a developer wants to develop. So he or she would create a feature branch for implementing login. Then another guy menu, another guy cart. Now for a development of features are created in feature branches. Now one important point is any branch you want to create, it asks us to choose the source. So in general, when people are developing, they always pick develop as the source branch. Yeah, there is a lot of background noise. Yeah, if you have any question, I'm not sure if we're talking, we could not hear anything, but there was a lot of background noise. If you wanted to ask any question, please comment, ask that in the chat box because there is a lot of background noise. Okay. So any branch, when you want to create it, you should create it from a source branch or from a parent branch. Most of the time when developers are developing new features, they create the feature branches from develop branch. And before even that, let's take a step back. What is a branch? Anybody? Is there anyone who is not aware of a branch? Git branch?
Copy of
So
source code, right?
exactly, it's a copy. It's one copy of a code. It's just different version, different copy. Okay, that's a branch. So you might have 1,000 files. You just if you copy paste it, that becomes a copy, right? That's a branch. The copy is linked with Git. That's additional thing. So now whenever you want to copy, obviously even in our folders, right, you copy paste something, right? Copy from source folder to a destination folder. You will copy all the files. So here also same thing. You create a copy called a branch, which we are terming as feature branch from a develop branch. Okay, so now once the developers complete their development, let's say login feature hardly takes 1 or 2 days. Once the code is all done, this guy, he or she, her responsibility is to promote that code, new code that might have 1 file or 2 files or 10 files, we don't know. All those new files or new changes or changes to existing files or even deletions also, updates, creations, deletions, all must be promoted back to develop. Once they are promoted, then this is to be deleted. The developer must delete this feature branch. That's a good practice. Don't keep that. Don't worry that, hey, my code might get lost. No. Once the code is promoted, it's done. Even if you want, you can get it from this develop branch. So always delete the feature branch once you promote it. That's a best practice. You are the owner of that branch. You are the only one who can delete it. That's also another best practice which is built in. Others cannot delete it. Only project administrators can delete it. Even project administrator cannot delete by default. Okay, they themselves have to get permissions, additional permissions to delete others branches. So feature branches are the branches which are meant for developing new features. They are short-lived. Okay, now we'll talk about release in a moment, but hot fixes, I'm sure many of you would know. Hot fixes are the ones which are again branches in folder called hotfix. These are created in general from main, because main is the one which always be in sync production. Whatever code you want to deploy into production, that is from main. Main will always have the code that is in production or about to be deployed into production in a day or two. So now after a deployment happens to production, let's say there is a bug, immediately people should fix it, correct? That's the topmost priority. So in that case, hotfix branches will be created. Obviously every branch should have a parent. The parent will be main, or the source will be main. The developers will fix the will make the change for the fix and promote that change into main, and again main, the code in the main will be deployed to production. If there is a new bug, again the process will repeat. Okay, so once the code in this hotfix branches is promoted to main, deployed and tested, sorry, not even deployed and tested, once the code is promoted, immediately this must be deleted. That's why it is short-lived, and that's the best practice. Don't keep them. Okay, that's about hotfixes. And release branches in general, release branches are the branches which are meant to be released for every release. That means every company will have a plan, basically release plan. They will plan for all releases. So when do we promote our features to production? Every month, maybe one day, or every quarter, depending on the organization size. They will plan, hey, every month on first week of Friday we should do a deployment. So that's the release plan. So for every release, what people do is they create a release branch. This guy, now what is the source? Whenever you want to create any branch, there should be a source, right? So the source will be main branch, most of the time main branch. For example, this is a release branch for the month of January 2024. This is for February, this is for March. So now whenever there is a release planned, one of the release managers or architects, what they do is they create a branch from main. Okay, because main is something that contains all production related code, right? They take it, okay, and now all the items that are supposed to be released in the month of January, they will be taken from develop branch. Develop branch will have everything, right? So from here, individual features will be picked into Jan release branch, and then Jan release branch will be deployed to production. And once everything is fixed, Jan code will be merged into main. Don't get confused. I have separate slides for them. I will explain them one by one. Okay, first, but understand that the source of release branches is main first time. Okay, and then the source of the changes, developers will not develop, developer will not make changes to release branches directly. Instead, they will do a cherry pick. There is a concept called picking individual items from developer. Now where this developer is getting all the individual items, it is getting it from feature branches. From here things go here, and from here things go bits and
Pradeep,
pieces here.
Pradeep, can you please tell me what is cherry pick? I had about the developer using this word, so I
Yeah,
confused like what is that, and they're using frequently this word.
correct.
Can you
So
elaborate and explain more?
sure. Cherry pick means picking individual items. It's as simple as it is. Let's say there are 10 cherries in a plate. How do you eat it? You pick one by one at a time, right? So
From
it's very
production,
simple.
I mean, it's an main branch or integration branch. They will picking from which branch, master branch or integration branch. Integration is nothing but like a development branch, right?
Mhm. Correct. See, it could be any branch. Cherry picking means if you want to understand cherry picking, you have to understand a commit. Okay, so I have separate slides for that. If I explain cherry pick, you may not understand. So let's first focus on all this basics, then I will explain you cherry pick. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, simple cherry pick means you can pick individual items. That's it. For example, let's say in the release January 24 release, you want to deploy only login and menu. You don't want cart. But develop branch, by the end of December, develop branch has all three. But your management decided only to deploy login and menu. Let's not deploy the cart yet. That is planned for February. But luckily, developers have completed that work upfront. So now don't deploy cart, only deploy menu and login. Okay, so cherry pick these two from develop and put them into release January 2024, deploy it to production, and once the deployment is done, promote this into main. That's the whole process of release. Don't worry, we will understand in detail in the upcoming slides. But here the takeaway is you will have all this set of branches. Everything is a branch end of the day, but they are meant for different purposes. Okay, all right, let's move on. So now life cycle, right? How do each of these branches get created? I already explained, but I will show you visually. And the previous slide, it was development teams complex architecture, but here it's simple, infra. So infra is simple, just core branches. It has just some feature branches. They will not have hotfix branches, release branches. Generally people don't, infra team don't maintain that complex things. It will just be simple things. Okay, so now let's understand more about the workflow of development team architecture. Okay, so whenever you create any repo in any project, by default you get a main branch these days. 2 years back it was master branch. Even now when you join an existing team, the old one, right, existing who is working on an old project, you might see master branch. So now all new repos you get main branch. That's the industry practice which is being followed. Okay, I'm repeating, whenever you create a repo, new repo, a main branch will be created automatically with one file. Maybe it is readme file. It's empty but one small file. Okay, so now in real world, who will create repos? Maybe some DevOps engineer will create repo. Okay, so once that guy creates, maybe development team architect or lead, they will create develop branch as well. Okay, so develop branch gets created from main. At this point of time, both will be same. Okay, so now things slowly gets complicated. So now development team says, development team gets involved, developers will be there. So each developer, let's say example, 3 developers are there. Every developer will get their requirements. One of them for login page, the other one menu, the other one shopping cart page. That's what we have seen earlier. So they create feature branches, right? First developer comes into picture. First developer's responsibility is creation of login feature. So developer 1 creates feature / login. Feature is a folder here, because he or she wants to write code for login. That person will create this branch. Similarly, second developer creates another feature branch called menu, and one more guy called shopping cart. Okay, so at this point of time there are 3 developers who created 3 branches. All of them are developing parallelly. Okay, so now maybe in a day or two, first developer 1 completed her code. Implementation of code is done. What should we do? That code should be promoted to develop. Now how many files this branch would contain? how many new files or new updates or deletes this would contain? Maybe 1 or 2 files, correct? So combination of all these messages, combination of all the files along with a proper message is called a commit. Okay, so now whenever feature branch 1 gets promoted to develop, it's a commit. Okay, same thing developer 2 also does. Once his or her work is complete, that goes into develop. So this is second commit, and similarly third commit. So now what is a commit? Commit is a git command. So commit is nothing but combination of multiple files, 1 or more files, along with a proper message. That's called a commit. So now all these 3 commits are promoted into develop branch, and the life of the feature branches is done. Maybe 1 or 2 days after they are promoted, they will be deleted. So now it's empty currently, right? Obviously next day the manager will assign new task to all those developers. So other feature branches will come in and the story repeats. Okay, so every day people create feature branches, they will be creating all that, and they will be promoting that code to develop branch. And one day we'll have to promote them to production. We'll have to make a release, correct? So that's when release branches come into picture. So in the month of January or maybe end of December, late December, people have to plan at least 1 week or 2 week ahead, right? So we'll have to plan 2 weeks before the January release. So people create a release branch, maybe release / Jan 2024, something like that. So now that branch should get whatever code is required for feature login and maybe menu, correct? So now this contains everything related to login, menu, and anything before these features, and these guys should be deployed to production from release branch, and if deployment is all successful, then they should be promoted to main, correct? So at this point of time, main and develop are almost sync, but develop has additional feature called cart. So we did not deploy this to production because go ahead is not given yet by management. And plus there will be additional features that developers might be doing when release is happening. At least few additional new things might be there in develop along with cut. So this is the entire flow of a given release. This is one of the branching strategies that people follow. So now here, whatever we did, right, I will go back few steps. So here at this point of time, develop branch has multiple commits, all 3 commits, correct? But for this release, we have got approval only for login and menu, right? So now we cannot deploy directly develop branch. No, we cannot create a branch from develop. We cannot create this release branch from develop. No, because if we do that, even feature / cart will also come into release. So what we should do is from main, whatever is in current production, from main, create this release branch. Okay, so at this point of time, this release branch and main will be same. Now we wanted to promote only login and menu in the month of Jan release. So now cherry pick this commit and this commit as well. So cherry picking means picking up only the selected commits from a given branch. Does it make sense now? You understand cherry pick? I think you wonder, right? Yugandhar is who asked it.
Yes, Praveen.
Okay.
And terrific basically it will pick one by one what needed
One
on
by
the
one commits. One by one commit. Yes.
okay, yeah, gotcha.
Okay. It's a nice feature because You may not want to deploy everything. Right? You may want to only pick some features. So that's when you do a cherry pick. Okay. All right. Now, very important one is policies. Anybody knows policies if you're already working with Git? Okay.
So defining some guidelines or uh,
Okay. Yeah. So defining some kind of guidelines. So
guidelines, approval process and all.
correct. So here I'll take back. I'll go back to previous, or maybe um, to the very first slide. Yeah, this one. So far I was talking, right? I was saying that developers will write code here in feature branch. Developers will write code here in hotfix branches, right? But I never said developers will directly write code here in release branches. In release branches, people will do a cherry pick from develop. I never said developers will write code here directly. I never said developers write code here directly. Okay, people should not write code in this because the code from here will get deployed. Okay, and they are long lived. So if people are writing code directly here, that means we are compromising with quality. People should never write uh, code directly in these core branches and release branches, because the code from here also gets released to production or higher environments. So now if you say, if architect says, hey, please don't make changes to release directly, developers might say yes, but sometimes by mistake they may write code directly here or here. So that's by mistake, which is unintentional. Now, as an administrator, in usually DevOps administrator or Git administrator, usually what people do is they put access controls. They put some validations in such a way that nobody can make changes to these branches directly. So those are called as branch policies. So now nobody, if we create a policy which doesn't allow making changes to these branches, then how come the code can be promoted from here to here, or here to here, or here to here? Correct. So that's another question. So direct changes are not allowed. However, moving the code from one branch to another branch is allowed. Okay. So now moving is an English word, but Git terminology is merge. Promoting or moving the code from one branch, any branch, from one branch to another branch, any branch, from here to here, or here to here, anyway. Promoting from one branch to other branch is called as merge. Git merge. So I was talking, right, feature branch is short lived. Whenever developers feels that the code is complete, they should promote this to develop. So now basically the way they promote is via something called as pull request. So once the developer tests their code on their machines, they have to raise a pull request. That's one of the very commonly used best practice in every project wherever Git is used. Everyone, even Microsoft also follows. Every developer who writes code follows this. Now what is advantage? When you raise a pull request, you cannot merge the code directly. You have to get it reviewed by your peer or architect or both. You can have approvers in place. one approver, two approver, or 10 approvers, anybody, any number. I don't even know the number. If there's any limit, I'm not sure. So multiple people can review, they can give feedback. All this happens in the browser itself. Okay, I will show you after some time. So PR approval process can be mandated. That's one of must be mandated. That's now a very common best practice that people follow. Because without reviewing the code in feature branch, it's not a good practice to promote them into core branches. Because this code here should always be clean. So code review process will be there. The leads or architects can review the code in the browser. They can write comments on a specific line or a specific word or a specific value. They can write comments. They can tag people. Hey, for example, Chinna, hey Chinna, why can you please tell me why did you put this code? What is the task number? Can we make this change? Can you restructure the code? You can write all the comments, and once the developer makes the changes, they can say it is done. Or you can ask, hey other people, hey guys, hey Ajay, can you please review this code? I'm a little occupied. So all those comments can be written, and history can be maintained. If you can chat there, basically all that can be done right in the browser within Azure DevOps. Okay, so so let's summarize. Basically the core branches or the release branches, in fact any branch, you can say, don't allow people to make changes directly. Instead, ask them to raise PR, mandate PR process. That's called as a policy that can be achieved via a branch policy. So it's not recommended to directly commit the code in the main branch, not just main branch, but a release branch, develop branch, all those core branches. So how do we restrict? With the help of branch policy. Now when you do that, developers may want to merge the code into main branches. So in order to do that, they'll have to raise a pull request for merging their changes. Once the code is merged, this pull request also facilitates to delete that feature branch. All that is inbuilt. Okay, so let's see. Here you see develop branch. There are already a lot of changes. In our case, 3 changes. And developer 1 created a feature branch called task1. When they got this copy into their machine, it was very same to what develop branch had. So now developer made these changes. These numbers are basically commits. And once developer is done in their local machine, they push is another command in Git. When they push, this local feature branch will also be created in Azure DevOps remote repo. Okay, this remote repo is called as remote origin. Basically this is server, this is client. Client means developer's machine. So now in order to raise a PR, your branch must be in remote origin. So when you do a push, your task1 feature branch will be created in task1 in remote origin. And now once the task1 is available in remote origin, you can raise a pull request. So there are multiple things. While raising pull request, you can provide a title, description, what is the source branch, in our case task1, what is the target branch. It can be develop, it can be main, it can be any other things. Okay, so you need to provide all these. In fact, you can tag a task number as well. Okay, and once you click create, it will send an email to the reviewer. And of course, while creating the pull request, you have to choose approvers, or approvers can be added automatically. I will show you how to create approvers automatically. So now reviewer can reject your code. They did not like anything, or the feature itself is removed, so they can reject, or they can review and provide comments. And you will have to rework, and after you did the rework, the approver can again review final time and they can approve. Okay, once it is approved, email will be sent to you and you can complete the merge. So there will be two buttons in the PR: approve, complete. Approver approves it, complete must be done by developer. That's in general best practice, but sometimes approver themselves approves it and completes it as well. So when you do a complete, these 4 and 5 commits are merged into develop branch. So this is the entire flow of pull request, which is the very common best practice that everybody follows. And of course there are different types of merges, fast forward merge, squash merge. We'll not go into all that. But at a high level, these are all the steps. I will take a pause because it's important to see if you guys have any questions here.
Nope, all good from my
Yeah,
end.
Praveen, just I have a question. Is there any conflict will come means every developer have their own task. They once they get on pull request, and sometimes I developed something and another developer developed some code in a same branch. Is
Same
this
branch?
happen? Yes.
Why do you work in same branch?
Which
Okay,
okay. If
let's say
if
there is
two
an
people are working in same feature,
okay, that's fine. In general, that's not a good practice. You should, even if you work on a big feature, you should create separate branches. Okay, let's say you're working on the same branch. Let's take it that way. Okay, for some reason you did that. Okay, now what's the question?
uh, that I developed some of code and it may get any conflict. I'm thinking that based on this image and this developing image, and once I push this code and once I requested pull request, at the same time another person also requested for developed something and requested for same pull request
Okay.
and how it will be work.
Okay. Basically, you wanted to understand how to resolve conflict. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. I will explain you. You need not be working on the same branch. Even if you work on different branches, also code conflicts will come. Okay. I will explain. I will show. I
Yes.
will. Yeah. So I will show that if we have time. I know we already crossed 50 minutes. I think already we are on time. I mean, we are not on time, but that's fine. I hope we'll extend that. I hope it's okay for everyone. Let's extend it. All right. We'll start doing some hands-ons. Okay. So let's create a project first. Let's quickly go to. Okay. So I have an Azure DevOps organization. So as you can see in the URL, Azure Training DevOps is the organization. I have two organizations. I can create more by clicking on this. But within this, let me create Azure DevOps Git best practices. I made it public. For now, I'll make it public. Okay. Public means anybody, you can also access it. You don't need to be part of this. Oops, I shouldn't have created. Okay, I wanted to show you this advance. I missed it. That's fine. So let me create one more. So here, Azure DevOps supports two types of version control. One is Git. This is open source. Git is open source, by the way. And this is Microsoft one, Team Foundation version control. If anybody is a .NET developer, if you work with TFS, then this is a cloud version of TFS. So both can be, either of them can be used in a given project for a given repo. Okay. So I'll click cancel because we already created this. So now this is a new project. By default, you will get a repo, empty repo with the same project name. Okay, I don't want this. I want to create a new project. So maybe let's say .NET development team. project 1. Now you see, I created .NET repo. By default, this is a list of all branches. This is a list of all repos. I have 2 repos, and under each repo you have 1 or more branches, maybe hundreds of branches, thousands of branches. I don't know the limit. I don't think there is any limit. Okay, so now let me create more branches, maybe one for DevOps. Oops. I may need 30-45 minutes more, guys, to answer all of your questions. Okay, so please bear with me. Yeah, so now I am the administrator. That's why I see all these. In real world, you will not see all this. Okay, so maybe I can delete the one that is not required. Oops, yeah, this is not required. It doesn't have proper naming convention. Yeah, I have to copy paste the. Now this is clean. Go back. Okay, so now we have main branch. I'll go back to .NET because that's complex one. Nothing is there. This is the first time we started a new project. Developers asked me to create a repo. So I am now a DevOps administrator. So I created them and I asked them to check. Now the development lead, okay, they say, hey, we need to create a develop branch or integration branch or whatever. Now you see, while creating any branch, it will ask us to choose a source branch. So whatever, okay, let me click on cancel. So whatever files you have, right now we have only readme. This is the default one. When you click on this, it will show us the content here. I can edit. And I can commit. You see, commit means saving. Okay, save the file. In the browser, you can save one file at a time, but if you use some tools like Visual Studio Code, you can commit multiple files at a time. So commit to main branch. This is a very bad practice. Okay, that as an Azure DevOps administrator, I did not follow best practice because these guys are able to make changes to main branch directly, which should never be allowed. Okay, so now here I am able to look at contents. Here I can see history. You see, today at 5:58, Praveen Kumar has added this branch, and Praveen Kumar has edited this branch, which is bad. Praveen should never edit. Okay, so we have to restrict it. We'll do that in a moment. But now dev lead can create a develop branch. Now whatever is in main, whatever was in main, all that has come into develop. You see, I created develop branch from main. It's like copy pasting. When you do a copy paste, you will obviously get everything, right? So I got this change as well into develop. Okay, so this is what leads will do. Now I realize as an administrator, hey, this is anybody is able to make change, so I should create policies. Okay, let's learn policies now. How to do that? Go to branches. Right now we can see branches here in the drop down. Here also we can see. Be very careful, there are tabs. The branches that I made changes are shown here. If you want to see all branches, then click on this. And of course, currently we have only 2. Now you want to create new branch, you can click on this. I don't want to create new branch now because now I'm playing a administrator, DevOps administrator role. Now what I want is, I want to follow some best practices here. Default branch. That means whenever I click on new branch, the parent is always main. That's a default branch. So most of the times we don't create it from main. We don't create, most of the time feature branches are the ones which are created more, which are created frequently. So always the source of feature branch is develop. So let me make this as default branch. Okay, so now when I click on new branch, you see this is one simple best practice. This will save some time. Okay, Now that's one thing. Next thing is I don't want to allow people to make changes directly to develop and main. So let's first restrict it to develop branch. So click on this policies, branch policies. Click on this. Now ensure that the developer is selected. Right now we are doing it only for .NET. We have to repeat this process for DevOps, database, everything. So now here, while the branch is selected, you see policies here. Now these are all various policies, 4 policies. I mean, these are all policies. Even these are also kind of policies. Okay. So now enable this. Now you see by default Microsoft recommends 2 approvers. I will say 1. Okay. So now let's do the same thing for main as well. Select main, make it 1. That means from now nobody can directly make changes to these 2 branches. Okay, let's test it. I'll duplicate this. I will go to files. Now I can choose either develop or main. Select a file, edit. Hey, I'm able to make changes. Why? Anybody? Why am I making changes? It is allowing changes, but it will not allow us to save them. Pushes to this branch are not permitted. You have to follow pull request. Okay, so configuring branch policies is a very nice best practice. So obviously I cannot make changes. That's when you have to create feature branches. Now how do you create feature branches? It's very simple. Click on anybody can create in general. I mean, of course you can restrict. Anybody can in general create new branches. Login. We were talking about login. And while creating branch, you can also tag it to a work item. So work items are part of boards. Okay, maybe let's quickly create a task. We'll not go into all this, what is work item and all. I just want to show you. Login, right? We were talking about login. Maybe assign it to myself. Okay, work item. Copy this number. Go back. Feature/login. Ensure, this is important, ensure that you are always choosing develop. Now it has come. Select it and click create. So now whatever was in develop, I got it here. Okay, so now you can go back to your task, and if I refresh this page, the branch is linked. Feature/login branch is linked to the work item. Your project managers can see, okay, Praveen is making changes. He created a feature branch sometime back. So that means Praveen is working. Project managers will not know what is the feature branch name, all that, right? So tracking is all integrated. Okay, let's go back. Now this guy, first developer created a login page. I'm showing everything here in browser, but using browser is not a good practice. Okay, people should use tools, IDEs, developer environments, okay, integrated developer environments like Visual Studio Code, and many other tools are there. So developers will have to use all those tools. But here we are just focusing on Git features, so I'm directly creating files in browser. Now you see this is a feature branch. Feature branch just doesn't have any policies, so I can safely commit the changes. It won't complain. So maybe my project manager asked me to delete this as well. In my task, he or she asked me to delete, so I will delete it. So how many changes did I do? I added one file and I deleted one file. Both are changes. That should be promoted to develop branch. Okay. So now developer 1 did this. At the same time, parallelly, developer 2 would also be working, right? On the same day they started. Now you see, ensure developer 2 should be very careful. He or she should select this /menu. It is optional. In fact, actually, it's recommended to put the number in the branch itself. Okay, I missed it, but the best practice is always to put the number, task number along with the name somewhere. Feature /1234 login, 1235 menu, something like that. Okay. Okay. So now developer 2 is working on this. Developer 2 did not delete it. Project manager asked developer 1 to delete it. Developer 2 will leave it, will ignore it. So developer 2 will create a file, menu, right? Yeah, menu.html. In general, there could be many files. I'm taking only one file. So both of them are done. Okay, they completed their work. Now, developer 1 and 2, both of them started at the same time, but they may not complete at the same time, right? So maybe developer 2 has completed her work quickly. So now they wanted to promote it to develop branch. So how do you do it? They should raise a pull request. How? You see, the moment you commit, it is automatically showing us an alert or notification where you can see a button called create a pull request. Using this, you can raise PR. Sometimes you may not see this. In that case, go to pull request where you can see my own pull request or the ones which are waiting for approval here and the ones that are already approved and completed or deleted ones. There is no concept of deleting pull request. If you want to delete a pull request, then you have to abandon it. All those abandoned ones will see here. Abandon is like deleting. Okay. So here, the moment I came here, you see it shows my recent change and it is asking me to create a pull request. In fact, if you don't see this, you can click on this. Now you see it already detected the recent change that I made. This guy is developer 2. Okay, should be careful. Don't select main here. It should be developed. Okay, and you can swap using this button. So proper title menu changes completed. Created menu, validated, created menu items, blah blah blah. It's a good practice to follow add all the items, and you can also format them. And again, you can attach PR to your task. That's also possible. Okay. Now, let's say I am lazy. First of all, I am lazy. My project manager is also lazy. My project manager did not even create a task for me. I simply go and create. This is a bad practice. Now, as an administrator, I notice this. Why are people not tagging PRs to a task? Because project managers or architects should know, at least architects should know which task has the code, right? So now architect came to me, I am the administrator. Can you please mandate attaching work items to PR? This is a PR. So how do I mandate? So now whenever there is a PR created for develop, correct, I need to mandate that particular thing. How? Again, go to policies for develop, and here you see check for linked work items. That's it. It is required to link work items with the pull request. Okay, so now if I go back here, refresh, refresh. This is an old one. This was done before the policy, right? So now let's delete it. There is no delete. You can abandon. Let's assume we did not do all this PR. Okay, so let's follow the process again. New PR, menu to develop. Second developer has completed the work early and second developer is raising PR. Okay, again they'll have to menu changes, blah blah blah. Now I'm not even adding reviewer, I'm not even adding work item. Now you see there is a red color mark. It failed. Because it failed, even if approver approves it, this won't work. Complete button will not work. So because this is not passed, work items must be linked. So now developer will go to project manager and project manager has to create a new work item for menu. Because I am the one, I will assign it to myself. Okay. So what is the number? 1956. So here I can come. So work items can be attached after creation of PR as well. Here they can search or they can whatever. Now you see the moment I added it, this error is gone. Required check called work items must be linked is green now. Now everything is green. So the developer 2 copies this. In fact, okay, now there is one more problem. Who is going to review this? There is no reviewer. Now there will only be handful of reviewers, right? Only 1 or 2 people who are the default reviewers. Every project will have a mandate that okay, this guy and this guy must review the PRs. That's their responsibility. So now it makes, now developers can add, of course developers can add mandatory reviewers where they can choose some people. So as a developer I can do, anybody can do it, not just the owner of the branch. Anybody who sees this PR, they can add it like this. But manually, right? I can remove it. We can automate this process. How? Again, here, scroll down, automatically include reviewers. Click on this and search for people, their email address, and click save. So Praveen will be added automatically to every PR that is raised for develop from now onwards. So all these changes are done only for develop. Okay, these are not applied for main. So administrators must do all these for all branches, all repos, all projects. Okay, so now nobody is here. Praveen will be added. It takes some time. Yeah, it takes some time. So Praveen is automatically added. Okay, so now Praveen will the developer 1, developer 2, right? Menu is from developer 2. So developer 2 will take this. In fact, Praveen will receive an email. Obviously, Praveen is also lazy. He will not check his emails. So developer 1 has to ping this to Praveen, ask for approval. Now Praveen pastes the URL, directly comes here. And Praveen will see everything is green, which is good. Now Praveen wants to see what all menu changes are, what are the changes done for menu functionality. Click on this. There is only one. If there are many, it will be shown here in the list. And menu.html is new one, so plus is shown. If it is not a new one, if it is existing one, plus is not shown. Click on this, and this is a new one, so it is just content. If this is a existing one, then you can see old change and new change. I mean old version and new version. So this is a new one. Everything looks good. Praveen can ask some feedback. See, there's only one line, right? One word. Praveen can click on this. I will tag the developer. Even Praveen is the developer, right? Here, Praveen, can you please make M to capital letter? this guy will receive an email. Okay, now this guy opens this page and he can see the command. Oh, my manager is asking me to make it M. That's fine. So I can go to my branch menu, come here, edit. I'll fix it. That was a change asked. Now, a question to you. Do I need to raise new PR? What do you guys think? Make a guess.
For the new commit, we need PR.
Sorry?
In the same peer, we can in the discussion we can ask our peer to
Exactly.
yes, it's done.
First PR is raised. Reviewer asked us changes. We can directly make the changes in our branch. We don't have to raise a new PR. In fact, you cannot even raise. If you try also, go here. Menu changes is already there. But if I try to create a new pull request between menu and develop, it says an active PR is already there. You can click on this is the number. Okay, so before asking my manager, what I should do is I should come here, double check. Okay, M is now capital, and here you see 0 of 1 comment resolved. My manager commented, I made changes, but I forgot to click on resolve. So in real world, in a big file, managers or architects can view 10 comments. How will architect know how many comments were resolved? They will have to click on resolve, right? And again, so as an administrator, you can say, the administrator can say, check for comment resolution. It is required. Okay. So if I come back, the complete button will not be, it cannot be completed because 0 of 1 comment resolved. It is mandatory. It is mandatory to resolve all the commits. Comments. Okay, it won't allow. Okay, so that's one good practice. So always ensure all the comments must be resolved. Then only the PR can be completed. That's one thing that we did. Now, reviewer is happy now, but developers should resolve this. When they resolve, then here it comes all comments resolved, and the developer asks the reviewer to review it. Reviewer is happy now. Again, reviewer comes back here. So now when they click on this, now you see this is looking good. So approver approves it. Okay. So now even after approving, you see complete button is not coming here. Maybe I'll try to complete it. See 0 of 1 reviewers approved. I approved it, right? Already I approved it. I can approve one more time. In fact, here it shows PK approved it. Now why is it not showing me complete button? Because why is it showing me 0 of 1 reviewers approved? Any guesses? You see Praveen Kumar approved even here. Because I am the owner of this PR, I created this PR, and I am the approver. I am playing both roles. So that's why it is not allowing me. So there is a policy to allow self-approval. How? Allow requesters to approve their own changes. Okay, in general, this should never be checked. If you check this, anybody can approve their own things, right? So don't check this, but now here I am checking this. If I go back, refresh, now I will see complete button enabled. Okay, so now what are we doing? We are allowing second developer the process is all completed by second developer. Now second developer should come and complete it, and of course delete the feature branch because it's no more required. Now this feature menu is deleted. Though it is deleted, but this pull request will still be there. They can anytime, anybody can come and see what did developer 2 did for this feature branch. They can come and see all the changes. Okay. Now menu is no more there. Very similarly, developer 1 will also complete the changes, go to pull request, create a new pull request, login page. Don't have to choose reviewers, automatically they will be added because of the policy. So same process can be done. Now here you can see one deletion, one creation. So this must be promoted. Deletions, don't ignore deletions. Always they must be promoted. Now reviewer approved it and developer comes here, completes and complete the merge. Yeah, done. Now develop has 2 changes, correct? Both of them are here in develop branch, and you can anyways come to history and see these 2 changes, menu changes, login changes, and they are coming via pull request only. Very initially, yes, manually Praveen has made the change unknowingly, but now nobody can directly make changes to develop. Instead they should come and see pull request, come and raise pull request. Okay. I know it's late by 30 minutes. I wanted to show you, finally we'll see conflicts resolution. Okay, let's do it quickly. We'll repeat the same thing, guys. I know it's a little bore. So I'll create a feature branch, just slash task1. There are 2 branches, feature slash task2. Recreation of conflicts is a little tough, but let me give a try. Let's say developer 1 made a change to menu because it's common. His task or her task was only to make menu 1 in task 1. Now developer 2 task is to add, edit first, menu 0, maybe menu, even this guy also did same thing. But okay, this small change, let me do developers 1 task also. So he did that, he or she did that. Okay, and this guy is very quick. He raised a PR, he or she raised a PR, task 2, double check. Now you see, you get a chance to see what was old, what is now new change. Okay, developer approver, developer 2 reviews both of them. By the way, one of 2 required checks failed. What are those 2? One is work items must be linked. I will link some random work item. And yeah, comments, there are no comments, so I'm good. So developer 2 was very quick, so he or she gets it approved and it is completed and it is deleted also. Now that lazy guy who is developer 1 comes and that guy raises a PR. So when it was menu old one, he made change to menu 1. So this guy raises a PR. Of course it is failed because it is, he did not choose the work item. Now did you observe anything? Conflict. So Git says, hey, there is a problem. Okay, this is one thing. This is the problem. This is edited here as well as here. So this task 1, you are trying to promote. Git is saying to developer 1, hey, developer 1, You are trying to promote some changes into develop, but somebody else has updated develop with new code in your file in the same line of code. So I am not able to understand what to do. So here it is not showing me the conflict. What did I do? I mean, what did the developer do? He changed from menu to menu 1. That's the only thing that is showing. But what about the conflict? Here it says edited in both branches. So how do we see the changes? There is a button called conflict. Come here and see. So now there are two things. Okay, there are three things. One is left hand side, the current change, which is just menu 1, and the version of develop, menu 0 and menu 1. This was done by developer 2, who was very active. So now Git is not able to understand how to merge these two. So these two are readable, read only, but here this is read write. So now, okay, now I understand. I did not initially understand why this raised conflicts, but later I understand, okay, developer 2's change and developer 1 change both are there. So what I can do is I can make the changes here directly. All what we need is menu 0 and menu 1. That's it. I can delete rest of the other thing. Of course, if there is rest of other code, don't delete it, but only fix these two lines. Now things look good, right? And click a submit merge. So this is how conflicts can be resolved. They can be resolved right here in the conflicts tab, right in the browser. And of course, Visual Studio Code can also be used for merging the lines. I mean, merging the conflicts. Okay, so what does it says? Please select a line ending. What does it mean? Never got this problem. Okay, so one is we can make changes in the bottom section and fix it, or we know that whatever is in develop is good. So what we can also do is take everything from the right side. Take whole target. Ignore whatever is in left. That's what we want to do, right? That's also fine. Either to fix in the bottom section or take the right side version, or even left side version can be taken. It's up to you. So now if you go to develop, okay, now approver must approve it. Okay, let's go back and see why complete button is not coming. It says one of the check failed. What is that check? Comment must be resolved. There is one comment. Who commented? Basically, whenever there are conflicts, right, it creates a comment automatically. Submitted conflicts resolution, right? It must be resolved explicitly. Then all will be green and complete can be done. I know I'm explaining very fast because I'm rushing, because we already crossed 30 more minutes, right? So yeah, it's done. Now if you go to develop branch for menu, you'll see menu 0 and menu 1. This is what task 1 and task 2 are. Okay. Yeah, that's about it, guys. And let's see if I think we are done. Configure policies. Okay, this is not very important, guys. So we discussed about conflicts. I'll go fast. Okay, last changes. Try to always make small changes in every feature branch. Don't combine multiple tasks. Don't multiple tasks into one feature branch, right? Don't keep it for long. Okay, and don't commit personal information into your Git, like passwords, license files. Some license files must be pushed, but be careful. You are not committing any sensitive information. So always raise PRs immediately, get it approved to avoid merge conflicts. Double check before you raise PR. Ensure that there are no problems. Okay, and always pay close attention while creating the commit messages, so that everybody can understand what each commit contains. And it's a good practice to link work items, and always follow always be a good team player and follow the agreed conventions and workflows. Yeah, that's it, guys. I am open for any further questions if you have. I know it's late now, late by 30 minutes, but feel free to ask questions if any. No questions? All right. Yeah, that's about it, guys. So if you have any further questions also, you can, I know many of you are part of this WhatsApp group already. I'm pasting that in the chat. Yeah, I will post this recording somewhere in YouTube and um, Meetup as well, so that you can refer later also. And
Would it be possible, Praveen, to share the PPT with us?
yes, I will do that as well. I will share it somewhere, either in the WhatsApp group, or I will attach that in the somewhere. I will do that. Sure. Thanks, Ajay. Yeah.
Thank you, Praveen.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for your time on this weekend. Bye bye.
Praveen, where can we
Thank you,
find this
Praveen.
recording?
I'll upload it in YouTube, and I just shared a WhatsApp group here. I will post the YouTube link in the WhatsApp as well as in the Meetup link as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you can copy the link, because the moment I stop the session, you will not see the messages. So you can copy the WhatsApp group link, and you can join it later whenever you can. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Praveen.
Happy.
Bye.